Don't mind my bland wall. Over the course of time, I will make it prettier and just a little bit more intriguing. I promise. What's up guys, it's your girl Snala and welcome back or to my channel. If you're new here, I make cooking videos like this on Tuesday and sit down videos like this on Friday. Please subscribe because I'm a good person. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some of my 2020 TV shows / movie suggestions. More TV shows than movies because I'm definitely a TV show type of girl. The first couple of movies / TV shows I'm going to show you are going to be ones to educate you on what is going on. Black Lives Matter movement and our history. As you know, we've been in quarantine for 3 to 4 months. A lot of these shows I've been watching before quarantine, but there's a few shows that my friends have recommended to me that I've started in quarantine. So let's just get on to it because I am known to make my intros very long and that's probably why my view duration on every single one of my videos is less than 1 minute. 13th. Directed by Ava DuVernay. This movie talks about the racial divide / injustice between whites and blacks and just all the basic stuff regarding racism, but it also talks about the mass incarceration of people of color in the prison system. Story about Khalif Browder, and he was walking home and basically they told him that they just were coming in for a precinct, but then they never let them go home. They just pushed them in here. The 13th Amendment, I want to talk about that as well because the 13th Amendment is the one that freed the slaves, which is why the movie is called 13th, because it is from slave to a criminal with one amendment, because the only way you could be a slave again is if you committed a crime. Fun fact, there's actually more black people in jail than there was ever slaves. So isn't that something? If y'all should know, black people / people of color are 5 times more likely to be imprisoned than a white person. So blacks and Hispanics are mainly the ones that are incarcerated a lot, and they make up about 12 to 13% of the U.S. population. White people make up like 76% of the U.S. population. I'm pretty sure black people make up like a little bit increase, it's a little bit greater than 38%, but even if it wasn't greater than 38%, why do we make up 38% of the population in prison? There's only 13% of us in the United States. When whites make up, I looked it up, it said they made up 48% of the United States prison system, but they make up 76% of the population. So if you really think about it, who's in prison more? So I read this book in 7th grade and I watched the movie. It was called The Watsons Go to Birmingham. The Watsons is not an actual family, but they talk about actual events that happened. It's about a family and they're from Massachusetts, and they visit their family in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama was one of the most racist places. The South is just one of the most racist places. And I'm not saying that there are not racist people in the North. We obviously know that. They didn't experience racism as much because they were in the North. I would definitely watch this if I was a kid because it's not as like sad to watch. If you can find it on Netflix, I don't think it's on Netflix, but it's definitely a good movie to invest in if you do want to watch it, or a book. The book is really good too. And in the end, like they talk about the bombing of the church where the 3 girls got injured, and this family just faces some racism that they've never faced before because they grew up in the North. But visiting the South, it was definitely an adjustment for them. So definitely a good movie. I 100% recommend it. Hidden Figures. This movie stars Taraji P. Henson, Avia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe, and it's basically about a group of black women mathematicians that want to join the NASA corporation, and back then that was a very white male job, so it was a little hard for them because 1, they're a woman, and 2, they're black. So it's like the main character, Taraji P. Henson, Katherine Johnson, these are all based on actual people. Katherine Johnson passed away. I actually watched this movie with my school, which I'm very happy we did. My school has always tried, my school, I can't even say that. They just really focused on the segregation of it all and how hard it was. Her journey was because she was a black woman in America. And there's a monologue out there that is really just powerful. Like she says, she has to go to a whole nother bathroom and run in her heels to the work. Use the same water fountain as you. I have to go all the way across who knows where. Like she had to travel so far just to use the bathroom because she was black. Eye-opening for sure. When They See Us. When They See Us is also directed by Ava DuVernay. When They See Us was definitely like one that really hit me. I think that this is the one that made me cry the most. I didn't really cry on any of the others, to be honest, but I cried on this one. The ones I've mentioned before, they were based off of times like the 60s. Weren't based off of a time when this was all supposed to be over. The Central Park Five was about a group of boys, teenage boys, who were convicted of raping a woman in Central Park at night. This was not true. This one really hit me because it was just like, it wasn't based off of the 60s. Like, it didn't feel ancient. It felt like just yesterday. It felt like it could happen tomorrow, you know? And that's the part where it was like eye-opening. This is still going on. Racism is still going on in America. And this was 1989. My parents grew up in the 80s, so this could have been them, you know? And, oh God, that was the biggest stutter I think I've ever done in my life. Yeah, it's really sad, and especially Corey Wise's story. No, all of their stories are sad, but his story is just a little bit, since he was older than the rest of them, he'd be tried as an adult, and that was just like the saddest thing in the whole entire world because he was in there for the longest. And yes, they got their little money when they all came out, but that they deserve much more than that because what happened to those boys was wrong. They forced an interrogation on them. They were minors. They were all like 14, 16. You're not supposed to question a minor without their parents. But people be forgetting the law sometimes. I cried, and like when it finished, when it was done, I was just sitting there like, because I was just in shock. Okay, Selma, I'm going to explain it a little bit. It talks about why. It's about the why. Not only is it just about the racial injustice and all that stuff, racism, it's about why. Why we're protesting, why we riot, why this matters, why Black Lives Matter. Well, that wasn't really a movement back then, but it was a thing. Why Black Lives Matter, why we're doing all this. It talks about the why. And I think people need to watch it because you need to understand why we're looting. It's very relevant today because people love to ask why we're looting and why we're doing all of this. George Floyd wouldn't want this. George Floyd is dead. I'm not sure George Floyd wanted to be dead either because unlike him, those big corporations can come back to life. I'm gonna tell you why we're doing it, and you're just going to have to accept it. And that's what that movie is talking about. The Hate U Give. The Hate U Give is a really good movie. It was about police brutality and the wrongs of it, of course, but it was mainly about using your voice against it. Using your voice to really like project, make yourself be heard. That's what the whole thing was about. I know a lot of the times it can be hard to really use your voice and want to stand up for what you believe in because you feel like people are going to judge you. You can't worry about all that. You just got to say what you got to say with your chest and say it loud. It showed how racist people can still be because her best friend, I don't remember her name, she was all lives matter as a person. A lot of it it was good. Like she was just saying, I will not be quiet anymore. You will not silence me. Her dad kept saying, don't ever let nobody make you be quiet. Like, the Hate U Give, that whole thing spells out thug, and then there's life. And it's basically from Tupac, the Hate U Give little infants, everybody. You make us thugs by giving us all this hate. By putting us in these homes, you're making us what you fear. Okay, now on to the actual shows that I really enjoy. Vampire Diaries. If you know me, Vampire Diaries is one of my favorite shows in this whole entire universe. I've watched all 8 seasons 5 times, and I'm not mad about it. You can't break me, like at all. Basically, it's about 2 vampires, Stefan and Damon, and they fall in love with this girl named Elena. It really follows Stefan's life because it's his diaries. In the end, that's what he's all about. And if you like Twilight and all that supernatural stuff, you will like Vampire Diaries. But Vampire Diaries is a little bit more realistic than Twilight. Like, for example, I feel like I can see Stefan Salvatore outside my door, you know? And I would not question him or ask him why his skin is glowing because he has a ring. Edward Cullen, it'd just be a different situation. I'd be like, why are you glistening right now? What is up with your skin, dude? The Originals. The Originals is a spin-off from Vampire Diaries, and it is my second favorite show. The description of the show is in the name. It's about the original vampires, the first vampires to ever walk planet Earth. It's so good. I would recommend watching Vampire Diaries before I watch the Originals because they might make reference to the main characters in Vampire Diaries, and you may be a little lost. Hence why it's a spin-off, because the Originals are introduced in season 3 of the Vampire Diaries, so you'll know a lot about them before you start watching the Originals. He follows Klaus Mikaelson and his Mikaelson family, and he gets this wolf girl pregnant, and his character development changes because of his daughter. If you're not attached to Klaus Mikaelson by the end of this, you did not watch the show right. All American. So I remember All American was trending on TikTok, and I was like, so y'all just not talking about Jordan Baker? It basically follows the life of Spencer. It follows his life, and he lives in Crenshaw, right? And he used to play for his high school, his home high school, and then Taye Diggs, aka Billy Baker, recruits him to play for the Beverly Hills football team. Let me tell you, he accepts it. It takes him a little while to accept it because he's very hot-headed. Spencer is very hot-headed. What about Coop? What about Coop? What about my mom's? You know, oh, I sound like Jay-Z. There are 2 seasons, so catch up. They're still running. Season 3 might be a little late because of this coronavirus, but they are still running season 3. The Society. Society is a Netflix original, and it only has 1 season, and it has not renewed yet. And I'm so sad because I really like that show. If you liked Lord of the Flies, then you're gonna like The Society because it's not entirely the same, but The Society is basically about this group of teenagers, and they are left on this like kind of an island. It's literally their hometown, but there are no parents. Their parents are nowhere to be found. It's just them, the teenagers, and there's no cell phone service, so they can't really call their parents. It's just really weird. One girl, and she leads the pack, and somebody else wants to lead the pack, a bad antagonist. So if you like those dystopian type shows / movies, you're going to enjoy The Society. Never Have I Ever. Okay, so I felt like I've been naming some really serious shows, not serious, but really dramatic shows, and I just wanted to give you guys some comedy. I finished it in a day or 2. It basically follows this Indian American girl named Devi, and I'm not Indian, but I think it stays pretty close to the culture. Basically, never have I ever. I have never done this. I have never had a boyfriend. I don't see enough Indian representation in TV shows. She's a very hot-headed little girl because she lost her dad, and ever since then she's been very hot-headed. Okay, so I just realized that if I continue any further with this video, you're going to be watching a 20-minute video about me talking about my favorite shows, and I'm sure you don't want to do that. So we're just going to cut this into 2, and we're going to do a part 1 and a part 2, okay? Okay. So, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below what you would like to see me do next. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I am a good person. Hit that bell notification to be notified whenever I post. And yeah, I think that's it. Bye.
Bruce Willis.